There we go. We're officially live. Guys, StreamYard was not wanting to cooperate. I clicked the live button and it just spun and spun and spun. But here we are now. We are officially live for Lights Camera Collect every Friday, 5:30 p.m. Eastern on the WillFoxification channel. Guys, thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy Friday. Happy weekend to you, by the way, to spend with us for an hour and a half on this live stream. And we have an Avengers level panel. Mr. Marco166 and Mr. Riley Reviews. Two Avengers. I'm not sure. I'm not sure which Avengers who you would be. Riley, you might be Black Widow. I feel like you're more
Black Widow. I'm Peter Parker, bro.
Yeah, you're Peter Parker. You can't. It's Secret War Avengers, so we're good. I was thinking original 6. Marco's more like Captain America. He's so nice.
Yeah,
wow,
I can see that.
I can see that. Damn.
Now, Riley, you would definitely.
You're
You're the Tom Holland Spider-Man. That's what you are.
Yeah, I like
you definitely are, bro. Yeah, absolutely. But Marco, how you doing, man? Thanks so much for joining.
Yeah, thank you for having me again. Really looking forward to this. Yeah, it's been a stressful week at work, so looking forward to chatting with you, bros. Riley, I'm still not over that Mexico loss, though, man. That was
oh my God. Did they lose?
Hurt, bro. Yeah, we won, but we didn't qualify. It was unfortunate. It's tough, dude.
There you go. They lost in the group stage.
Yeah.
But, you know, it was their own fault. They did look lifeless the first 2 matches, so that's what they get.
Yeah,
exactly.
Well, I haven't really watched. Is the U.S. in it? I haven't really.
Yeah, they're still in it. That's the only team I'm rooting for right now.
USA
tomorrow morning. It's tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. They're playing in the round of 16. So
if they lose, they're out.
Because our women's women's team is usually pretty good, but our men's team,
they're solid.
Not always.
Not as yeah, we'll see.
Yeah. So. But yeah, man. Well, happy to have you, Marco. Like I said, man, it's an honor to host you on the channel as always, bro. And yeah, it'll be a fun one. So hopefully we can, bring in your weekend nice. So
there you go. Let's do it.
Yeah, absolutely, bro. Well, Riley, how you doing, man? I don't see a beard yet.
Not yet, bro. Clean shave. I'm so embarrassed. KG's kind of stealing my thunder right now with the beard, but it'll come in at one point. But I'm great to be here. Thank you for the invite, Will. I'm having a great day. Just watching World Cup, like Marco said, and that Mexico loss was tough. But I digress. It was it's been a fun, nice week. Just getting some work done and excited for the show, man. Excited for the topics.
How did you guys get into soccer? Because in America, I feel like we don't follow soccer that closely.
Yeah, I'd always just liked soccer. I don't know.
Okay, yeah. I like it. I just haven't really watched
the World Cup mainly. Like I don't watch soccer that much, but when it comes to the World Cup, I always gotta watch it. Yeah.
Yeah, the World Cup might be the best sporting event like on the planet. It's just
fair.
It's so international. It's just so tense, like towards the end. Not to talk too much about soccer, but when Mexico was playing, the other teams in their group are playing at the same time. So it's like as different games are scoring goals, different standings are changing. It's insane. It's enough to make you pull your hair out.
That's true. Hey, not for me, but for everyone else.
That's right.
So, but yeah, guys, let's adjust the chat real quick before we jump into our topics. We got a lot of topics to talk about. We'll see how much we can get through in 90 minutes, but we will do it. Carlos, why is bitch ass Riley on the panel? I don't know, bro.
You're not even here. Why you're not even here?
Well, why? The question is, why is bitch ass Carlos not on the panel? But
yeah, that's true.
That's a better question.
That's a good
Gilbert Armazin, what's good, fellas? What's up, Gilbert? William Owens, hello all. Let's see. Stinky poopy pants. Yeah, well, nice. I don't know what that's in reference to, but something good, important. Ryan Smith, what's up, Ryan? Maniac Collects channel member. What's up, Maniac Collects? Thanks so much, bro. For joining. Angel Sal, is it going to start 10 minutes after the designated time again? No, 3 minutes. 3 minutes after, not 10. 3 minutes after, precisely. Christian Lopez, yo, what's up, Christian? William Owens, keep them coming. The more, the better. I'm not sure what you're talking about, William, but I hope it's about the stream because yes, I
think it's about Loki's. I think.
Oh, okay, cool. Even better. I like that. Duality of Carlos, an amazing sight to pull. Absolutely. AJ, channel member. Carlos, I know, man, I was going for pure speed, never hitting the button. I was like, nope. Oh, yeah, there you go, AJ. So no problem. Peyton 23. Carlos dropped some stupid comment. I'm going to move on. Anyway, Tyria. Hi there, Tyria. Riley Reviews. The man himself is here. The Avenger. Spider-Man. Ash Chase. Man, what's up, man? How's it going? Tyria. Let's see. Kinky Sphincter. Patas. I don't know what that means. But
patas to tatas.
Yeah.
From feet to potatoes? Yeah.
Is that something like that?
Well, I don't really know. But anyway, I like the sentiment nonetheless. Danny Lee, A.O. Riley, Marco, and Sweet Will. Danny Lee, man. I got to get Danny on here, but he's such a busy man.
He's an awesome guy.
He's so nice. Man, what? This is indeed an Avengers level panel. Thank you so much, man, what, for the super chat there. Appreciate it, bro. It really does mean a lot. An Avengers level panel. Yes, these guys are Avengers. I'm just here to be the Nick Fury. So that's it. I'll be, Maria
You'll
Hill.
be Loki.
I'll be Maria Hill.
You're not the god of mischief. You're not Loki.
Yeah, well, I pretty much am, so it's fine. I'll be Maria Hill / Loki. Ash Chase, DTR man, what's up? Gina B, what's up, Gina B? We'll have to chat. I got to get you back on. Thanks so much for joining. Carlos dropped a super chat. Thanks, Carlos. Mexico sucks. You guys play a bunch of nobodies. Carlos sucks, bro.
I guess Argentina's a nobody. I mean,
yeah, they're not.
True.
Is Messi Argentinian? Isn't he?
Yes. He is.
Yeah. They got Messi. He's pretty good. So
yeah.
Benno Benny, thanks so much, Benno Benny. Thanks so much, man. You guys are just being super generous today. Mr. Mom Collectibles, what's up? Mr. Mom, my fellow Loki fan, Thalia Meyer.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you so much, Thalia. Appreciate it. Carlos said I like tennis, which is true. I do like tennis. Let's see. Tully, thanks so much. Or Tully, sorry, Tully. The man, the myth, the legend. Hey, John Wick is a great character. I agree. So, Mr. John Wick, that's got to be who you're talking about. Brody Leon, look at those beards. Yeah, Riley's growing his. It's growing.
Yeah, bro, you can see it's going pretty good.
It looks great, Riley.
Yep.
Thanks, man.
Danny said, I love you. I love you too, Danny. Fig Fate channel member, thanks so much, bro. King Dingaling, bro. The king of Dingalings is here.
He is.
I ain't seen him in a while.
OG.
Xiao said, Will has the old man sweater on. Pretty much, bro. Pretty much. That's just what I look like. So, Carlos said he's top 3 in the world. What a dumbass. That, i.e., pretty good. AKA pretty good. That's what that is.
You can consider him the GOAT. I mean,
yeah,
he's
exactly.
pretty up there.
Carlos doesn't know shit. So, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, guys. We got to talk about this because this is the trailer, I think, that took the world by storm. There were a lot of trailers that honestly took the world by storm, but this was one of them. Oh, I shared Indiana Jones. Wrong one. Okay, so I'm going to show
too many trailers to keep up with.
I don't mean to bury the lead there with Mbiamba Jones, but with Guardians of the Galaxy, that's the one we want to start with. And there's a lot to unpack in this trailer, but it looks like a very sentimental film. What I kind of want to talk about is just your guys' overall thoughts on the trailer, and then what figures are we expecting and hoping for from this film. I have a feeling these team suits might be a little divisive because I'm not feeling great about them. But if it gives us an opportunity to get a Drax that is covered so you can put him as a normal Drax, that would be kind of nice. But Mark, I'll start with you, man. This Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 trailer. What did you think about it, and what kind of figures are you hoping for from the film?
Yeah, so I thought the trailer was beautiful. I have very high hopes for this film. I'm a little bit scared, though, because, so many of this phase, well, obviously we're on to the next phase now, but so many of the previous phase were underwhelming. So I want to believe this is going to be great, and I'm holding out hope. But, it's going to be tough to kind of reach the level of Guardians 1 and 2, but cannot wait for this film. I also didn't realize it was right around the corner too, so that's amazing to see.
Yep.
Yeah,
in terms of right, it is crazy, and I think you called it on the divisive nature of those like really comic accurate suits. I don't necessarily love it, right? Like I kind of like Star-Lord's outfits in previous films. I like the red jacket, and so this is a little bit goofy to me, but we'll see what the purpose in the film is for it. Totally on the Drax without the ugly joints. I think that's what they've got to give us. Give us a beefed up body because what is the actor's name? I'm drawing a blank right now.
For Dave Bautista.
There you go, Dave Bautista. Yeah. How could I forget that? Bautista's like put on a significant amount of weight, over the last few years. He's always been a big guy, but he's getting bulkier and bulkier from what I'm seeing. So give us a beefed up. We got to have his figure. And then this Groot, I'm not quite sure. I saw the holiday special. I don't know how I feel about this version of Groot where he's kind of like a box. Like he's he
is like a box.
It looks like interesting. Yeah.
Very interesting. I'm a baby Groot, but I'd love to add a Groot to the collection. So those are what I'm most excited about. And looking forward to the film overall.
Yeah, I think it's going to be pretty cool, man. And like, there's going to be a lot of, I think, different outfits in the film. So while we have the team suits, I don't think that's going to be their outfits throughout the entire thing, is my best guess. So I think there could be multiple versions of Star-Lord. Of the other characters, maybe just one. There's a great opportunity from the Christmas special to go ahead and knock out a Mantis.
Yeah, true. She's front and center there.
Yeah, exactly. And if not, from the film, right? Because she's taking on more and more of a role. I know that James Gunn has said that this is the last film with this lineup. So there could be other films, just not exactly with this team. I have a pretty good hunch that Drax, this is the end for him. Maybe not, he might not die, but Rocket, probably the end for Rocket too, I'm willing to bet. Yeah. So, and maybe Groot, but we'll see. But Riley, what figures, bro, are you hoping for from Guardians 3? And just what do you overall think about the trailer?
Dude, I thought the trailer was really good, honestly. I think it was definitely a standout. Like you guys said before, it's kind of giving me like those like those heartfelt, like emotional vibes with this. It's not really that like touchy Marvel. Like there were some funny bits like when Drax threw the basketball in his
That
head.
was amazing.
That was pretty funny. But the other scenes, like, yeah, it's really like heartfelt stuff, like a lot of cool action scenes. I'm excited to see how the film does. And like you said, they say that this is like going to be the last Guardian, so it's definitely been an emotional ride for James Gunn and everything to wrap up his saga. But it looks really awesome. I'm excited for it. Yeah, Groot looks interesting. I agree with Marco. I thought he looked like a little like he just looks very thick and like boxy.
He's been lifting, bro.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I need some advice from him or something. But yeah, I honestly like. I mean, you talked about the new tier. Shout out to you, Will and Carlos, for that tier-based collecting.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, I think anyone in these characters, unless the film just does something like drastic where I really love the characters, but I don't think any of these characters would be really ones that I'd buy, like for my collection personally. That said, if the film like it blows me away and I love it, I'd pick it up. I agree with you guys. I think the team suits, I don't like it at all, honestly. It kind of reminds me of like the Endgame final suits. Like no one really cared about those like white outfits. I was like, yeah, I don't really mind it. But yeah, I'd probably say if anything, maybe I've always wanted to get a Rocket. I think that would be kind of cool to have in the collection. So maybe if he has like a really nice story arc and I like his outfit or whatever, and they drop one, I'd be tempted to pick that up. But like I said before, oh yeah, hopefully 2 headsculpts for sure. But yeah, for me, it's gonna be one where I have to see the film, but not really interested in much figures on the display right now.
Right. Yeah, because I'm mostly with you guys on this one. Groot does look very boxy. He's clearly been putting up some weights and then lifting them down again. That's what he's been doing, right? I don't think we get another Nebula. I mean, maybe I'd be surprised, but with how the first one tend to perform, I don't think they're going to go back and be like, let's make another one of those. I think that figure was already pretty good. I don't see a reason to really revisit it necessarily. If people want it, you could easily go find it. So, maybe if you want the whole lineup in team suit, but I think this is a good opportunity to get a Drax because now they can do it without having it be shirtless, and it can be like, now you have a Drax, right? And they don't have to worry about the tattoos and stuff. So you got the face obviously, but that's easy to do on a head sculpt. But as far as the rest of the body, I think this is, if any time, this would be the time to do a Drax. This would be it. For sure. So, and Mantis really, but Mantis, I think the green outfit is cooler, to be honest.
True. Yeah.
I'm with you guys on the team suit thing. It gives it a uniformity, but it's like, do we like that? Like the team suit Tony is like, dude, that's like, you can give that away. So I mean, much. It's, so it's, I don't know. I'm expecting to, Adam Warlock we saw in the trailer.
That's pretty cool. Yeah.
So he looks pretty cool. Yeah. So I think that'll be a pretty cool outfit and pretty cool character. So I'm excited and looking forward to him. But this trailer, it hit a very sentimental beat. Do you guys agree with that?
Oh yeah, for sure. Like there's like scenes where like they're all screaming and crying. Like, you don't know what's going to happen. Like people are going to be dying or something. It's going to get crazy.
Hit me in the feels. Kind of felt like the Black Panther trailer a little bit. Where it's like, man, I'm getting so emotional over this incredibly well done trailer. Yeah,
and I think Marvel's really starting to ramp it up, and I think hopefully figure it out because you got Ant-Man in February, then you got this in May.
Yep.
So I think both of those look very good. So, and Black Panther was pretty good. I don't love it, but it was pretty good. I liked it. So, and I think this one's going to be probably the most emotional. Guardians 2, man, that one's pretty emotional too.
I cried. Come on.
Yeah, at the end. I mean, it's really intense. So yeah, I'm excited to see. I mean, we'll probably get another Rocket because it's probably super cheap for them to make. Probably super cheap. So maybe someday they'll root it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that would be amazing actually. Yeah. Did we see Cosmo at all in this trailer? I don't recall.
I don't think we did.
I saw Rocket as a little baby.
Saw like a little baby.
Yeah, baby Rocket.
And then
Cosmo was kind of cool in the holiday special. I feel like
I saw
that'd be a fun little accessory to add.
That would be a cool one to add for sure.
Yeah, but it looks like a very colorful film, pretty much in line with the other Guardians films. So I think a lot of great cinematography, but yeah, Groot is very boxy looking. So Carlos and I were talking about this. I think for sure that the Groot from Guardians 1 is the Groot to have. Yeah, that's still because I think this might be Groot's last movie. So,
do you think so?
We'll see. I mean, maybe the Guardians lineup changes just a little bit. I think Chris Pratt's gonna hang around a while.
Yeah, I feel like Groot's gonna end up growing like to where he does look like the original from Guardians 1. That's what I think. Because maybe he'll just grow to that level again.
Right. Feels like he has to.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it's pretty
I don't know that Guardians can. Yeah, he is right. I don't know that Guardians can really move forward without Chris Pratt. Like I feel like he is really the Guardians, and everyone else is kind of his support cast. So
that's the heart of it.
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, guys, great thoughts on that one. Before we move on to the next topic, let's address a couple of super chats here. Josh McCoy, thanks so much, Josh McCoy. Appreciate it, bro. He's been giving me info on the Loki half scale, so I love Josh for that.
Nice.
He's asked Adam Warlock opinions. I thought he looks cool. I mean, I don't really know much about the character. Do you guys know much about Adam Warlock?
No, I don't know much, but I know he's like a pretty exciting character. Like a lot of people are like anticipating how he's gonna do, and I think the actor I've heard he's a pretty good actor, so it's gonna be interesting to see like his take on it. It's gonna be cool.
Right.
Yeah. And I really like his suit too. Like it feels like they made him
looks cool.
Look very techy. So yeah,
I think it looks real techy, and I think it's going to be a cool looking figure as long as they nail the head sculpt. And he's going to be a badass. I think Will Poulter's a really good actor. He almost played Pennywise actually. So
really,
yeah, I think originally it was a different director, and he was going to play Pennywise, and they got a new director in, and it became actually Bill Skarsgård. So I love Bill Skarsgård, but I'm sure Will Poulter would have been pretty good too. So Jonathan King, thanks so much, bro. $9.99. You guys are generous.
Let's go.
Today. Hi, Jens. Guardians looks amazing. I love that the uniforms are very accurate to their first appearance as a team in the comics. Yeah, that's true. There's going to be some comic enthusiasts out there that love that. I haven't been this excited for a Marvel movie since No Way Home. Dude.
Nice.
That's great, man. That's great. What do you guys agree? Are you I'm not quite to No Way Home excitement level on it yet, but I'm pretty excited.
Yeah, and I'd probably say I'm more excited for Ant-Man, honestly, just to see Kang. Like I think that's gonna be really cool.
I do want to see Kang.
That's really
I do want to see
exciting.
Kang.
Yeah, but yeah, it's still gonna be. It looks like it's gonna be like a really heartfelt movie. It's gonna be great. I'm excited.
Yeah. Marco, I saw your dog running around in the background.
Yeah, she's already about to lose her mind here.
No. It's great, man.
A little pancake. Yeah, but I feel like I am really excited for this, and it's cool that we're kind of returning to those characters that we already know. Like they've tried a bunch of new characters, but it's like back to the tried and true Black Panther. We've got Guardians, we got Ant-Man. It's like, okay, it feels like coming home a little bit.
Exactly, bro. Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Thank you so much, Jonathan, for the generous super chat, man. Okay, so guys, let's talk about the Grail in the room.
Here we go.
The Grail in the room.
Here's the bias.
Grail. I know, right? The elephant Grail in the room. We got to talk about Endgame Loki. And there's some photos I want to share. I want to start with the bad, and then we'll lead up into the good. Maybe I'm a pessimist, but we got to start with the bad and lead to the good. Or what's perceived to be the bad anyway. Mm-hmm. So, guys, I know people in other streams have heard about this figure quite a bit, but we haven't been able to address it on one of my streams yet. I did a separate individual video for it, but I've not been able to address it on a live stream yet. That said, I do feel like it is important that we talk about it because I really want to ask you guys, is it that bad or are we overreacting? Because I think, with all my bias, like Riley said, I think we might be overreacting to this because I'm going to share just before you guys get your opinions, before you form your opinions, I want to share actually something that I shared. Primetime Reviews sent me this. I was sending this to Leo. So he sent me these photos, Primetime Reviews, and I can scroll through a little bit here, showing the figure. It looks pretty good. Is it perfect? No. Am I happy? Yes, because I'm a huge Loki fan, but I really don't feel it's as bad as maybe we originally thought it was. Is it as good as we hoped it to be? No, I don't think so. But Marco, I want to get your reaction, man. Is it that bad or are we overreacting? What are your honest thoughts on this figure?
Yeah, so this one is obviously very polarizing. I think we're overreacting a bit. And so I feel like very few hot toys are just complete, to use Carlos's words here, dog shit, right? Like, a lot of the times they're maybe a little bit subpar to the standard that they've set. But I think that overall, this is a pretty good figure, right? Like I've seen the comparisons from the original version versus this 2.0 in terms of the tailoring. They've done a great job of like making all the finer details look like very modern. The face sculpt looks good. Like it looks like Tom Hiddleston or Hiddleston? Hiddleston.
Yeah,
there you go.
You're talking to the Loki expert here.
Yeah, of course. That's why I had to ask you. Yeah. I mean, to me, it looks just like him. Obviously, with the helmet on, it looks significantly better, but you can't look at this picture right here that you have up and say, this one's bad. Now, I will say this is one I'm considering canceling. I do have my pre-order through Alter Ego, and after hearing the interview that you did, I would actually feel bad, leaving him on the hook, because obviously he can't cancel the order, even if I do. But I really want the TVA Loki. I've seen that prototype. I think it looks terrific, and I've got a little more high hopes that that one's going to come out to be, just a representation that I want a bit more in my collection. But that being said, yeah, I think everyone's overreacting. This is still pretty decent, but I can understand why some folks are feeling like it's not hitting the high bar that Hot Toys has set.
Yeah, understandable. We do want to hold them to a high standard. I've always been consistent about that, Marco. We want to hold them to the standard that they're capable of, and they are capable of more than this. So I do understand that where we're coming from with that, but I do feel like this still looks pretty good with the helmet on.
It does, right there. That picture's great too.
I know, man. I know. Riley, drop some knowledge on us, bro. Drop some wisdom on the chat right now. What's going on with this Loki, man?
Dude, this is a 7. It's not good. Nah, I'm just kidding. I'm not Carlos. I'm not Carlos. No, honestly, I get where he's coming from, I guess, because there's been a lot of misses with Hot Toys, and I think he's just that more so is kind of like getting his judgment. Because there hasn't been like 9s. Like we really haven't seen a lot of like 9s or 9.5s recently. So I think that's also going to help like a lot of people who are collecting right now. Like think that these aren't really as good as they are. Personally, like you said, I think it's like an 8 or like a 7.5 at least. I think it's an 8 out of 10. I really do see Tom Hiddleston. I know some people say it looks like a stunt double, but to me, I don't know. I mean, the photos, there are some that look bad, but like everyone talks about, like when it comes to photography and stuff, there's a lot of like certain like things you can do to like manipulate it, where it looks a lot different than what the actual figure is. And I think that just like these photos here, which are like in-person photos, nice high definition photos, and I think it looks really good. But I would say, like people have talked about, when the helmet is off, I do think that there is imperfections, but to me, when it has the helmet on, I think that's the best way he looks. Like I wouldn't have him with the helmet off if I had him in my display, because I just think like the presence with the helmet looks a lot cooler, and I just think it looks better anyways. But again, I think it's like an 8 out of 10. It's probably not going to be one that I get personally. I know. Sorry, Will. Sorry, man. I'm not getting it. But I'm kind of sticking to Spider-Man with Marvel right now. But I just think it looks really good. I don't have much problems with it. I mean, I think that a great point that a lot of people have talked about, the reason why this is so controversial and a reason why a lot of people are like, oh, I'm not going to get it anymore, is probably because of the wait time. I just think that this figure took like, I think it was like almost 3 years. Like it's pretty crazy. So when everyone's waiting that long, you kind of are like, okay, Hot Toys, this needs to be like a 9 or a 9.5. Like it needs to be that good if you're taking this long. But I guess it just didn't end up coming that way. They probably wanted to just rush it out because there's just a lot of backlog, and they're doing like 4 releases now a week, which is pretty crazy. But I still think that it's serviceable in a collection. If I liked Loki or I was planning on getting it, I'd still pull through with it, because I just think once you get it in hand, I see Tom Hiddleston. I think it looks really good personally. But yeah, that's the way I see it.
I agree with you guys. Yeah, overall, I'm with you, Riley. I think it's like 8.5 with the helmet on. That's how I feel about it. And, and I'm trying to eliminate all bias I have in love for the character. And that's something I think that we can address at some point, whether on this topic or another one. Are you more harsh because it's a character you love, a tier 1 character, as we call it, or are you more forgiving, essentially? And I think that's something that's worth exploring. For me, I don't know, man. I feel like it just really depends. I guess overall we're probably more forgiving is what I would say. Because if it's a character you love and you feel like you need that character in your collection, you're probably a little more forgiving to accept something that's not quite as good. Like I've had the CC Toys Joel and Ellie. I ended up selling them because someone offered me a great deal. But those figures are pretty good, but they're not top tier, right? They're not great. Yeah. So it's because I love the characters. So, yeah, absolutely, man. But
and I will say, Will, Riley's point about the delay, like that totally played into people's anticipation, right?
Sure.
The longer it was delayed, the fact that we got another Loki prototype that was shown where the head sculpt was so terrific, like of course everyone's expectations were going to be so high that anything short of like a 9, people were going to be disappointed. So I think that's a really great point.
I think so. I think you guys are definitely onto something. The fact that this was delayed for so long, I think that's a huge factor in this whole thing, because a lot of people really anticipated this character a lot. It's really the last one of the Endgame line. The Endgame Strange, like the Iron Strange, it's like it's kind of like almost more like a comic series or something. Right. It's like it's still technically Endgame because it was a concept thing, but this is really the last of the Endgame line to me. And I think people were really excited for it. It made me excited in a way, in kind of a roundabout way, because you look at it and you're like, well, people really care about Loki apparently, because this was a figure that people were anticipating and really wanted and kept getting delayed. And now they're a little bit disappointed. If they weren't going to get this figure, didn't care, that they wouldn't probably, they probably might say it sucks and move on. But the fact that we've been talking about it so much clearly shows that there's a demand for this character. So Interesting, guys. It's a buy for me. So, I'm getting
Grail.
Yeah, Grail, baby. Grail. Guys, let's keep that conversation moving, because we got to address the concept of, do we overreact to blogger photos? Is this healthy? Is this normal? I feel like it's probably yes to both, because it's probably, yes, we do overreact. Is this healthy? Probably not. Is it normal? Yes, because I think we do this on social media in general. This goes way beyond collecting. I've mentioned the example of we read headlines and we formulate an opinion based on a headline that we see from a news outlet. We, see a video title and we all automatically make up our opinion about that video before we even watch it, right? This is something I think that we all tend to do with social media because our attention span is very short. So we look at things and we're just like, already made a snap judgment on that without really having to do too much, right? Right. I think I do this. I think we all do it. I think it's just part of our culture at this point because of how fast-paced our lives move. So that's something I think is factoring in. But I want to share an example with you. We can go over Loki again, but I want to give another one that's a little bit older. This one. So
no doubt.
While this is not a 10 out of 10 head sculpt, no doubt. And I look at this head sculpt and I'm like, it's pretty good, but not great. Originally, you guys remember when this came out, it was an absolute shit show. Everyone was really upset. Everyone was like, this is terrible, really atrocious. But then reviewers started getting in hand. Everyone was like, is this actually a Grail sculpt? Like, and it turned like 180 really quickly. And I was like shocked to see how quickly that turned for a character that most people probably, they claim they don't like, right? So then when people started buying this, they didn't really want it. They just wanted it because reviewers were saying it was a really good head sculpt. And they were like, maybe I should want it, right? It was really interesting. So I want to share this as an example and jump to you, Marco. Do you think we overreact to blogger photos? And if so, is this healthy? Is it normal? What are your overall thoughts?
Yeah, we 100% overreact to blogger photos. I think it's just part of the hobby. For me, I know every figure that comes out, if it was up to me, I would get just about every hot toy there is. If I had unlimited space, unlimited budget, but I'm always looking for reasons to not get a figure. So I've got to analyze like every little piece of data that I have to be like, you know what, actually, I don't need this one. And so this Ray is a terrific example because this is one I ultimately ended up in my collection. But when these first photos came out, I was like, bummer. This is probably my last opportunity to add a Ray. I was looking forward to this figure. It's just not hitting the mark. And so I was kind of I didn't go on social media and post about how upset I was, but, internalized, kind of my disappointment. So to your point of, is it healthy? Probably not. It's probably not healthy for our mental health or, to be so, to have these really severe emotions when it comes to toys or whatever we're reacting about on social media. A good example, I'm a big sports fan. And so the teams that I root for, I will follow, people on Twitter that are talking about them. And the comment section, like every play, people will be so up and down, right? It's just the nature of like you're saying, social media. Like people will just be like so depressed one second, so over the moon the next. It's just kind of this ebb and flow, and it's part of being a fan of any really, hobby, I would say. So, you just got to learn how to, level off those expectations. Also, if, you're kind of feeding into this loop of reading the negative comments and then joining in and getting those negative feelings, maybe it's a good opportunity to take a step back from social media and just be like, you know what? It's okay. It's not that big a deal. They're just toys. It's just sports. But let me get off my soapbox for a second here and just say, is it normal? Yeah, I think it's totally normal and just, a sign of our society. But again, for me, I'm overreacting because I don't want to spend the money if I don't have to. So that's really why I overanalyze every little detail.
Yeah. And it's interesting because when I look at this photo, this is another example. And a lot of people in this specific photo say that they loved it. But I remember at the time very vividly that people hated this because they were saying there was something wrong with the lips, the eyes were off, something was wrong. In hand, this head sculpt is stunning. This is really one of Hot Toys' best, I feel. Not quite Yondu, but it's very close. I feel like it's a really, really good head sculpt. But Riley, same question. Do we overreact to blogger photos? Is it healthy? Is it normal? What are your overall thoughts?
Yeah, I'd probably say that we definitely do overreact. I mean, I've fallen victim of this as well. I know even in recent ones was the Doctor Strange. When I saw that, at first I was like, when I saw the photos, because I always look at the Hot Toys blogger pictures. That's our first impressions of when we're finally going to see the final product. And at first I was like, I don't know, something looks off. Like, I don't know, it looks different than what the Infinity War one was. But I think, again, like we talked about, I think that blogger pictures, I wouldn't really judge them like primarily off the blogger pictures because there's a lot of different saturation. There's a lot of different things that are happening in editing, etc. So what I do is now, I just wait for when either Sideshow or obviously if a first batch Hong Kong reviewer posted, Justin or anyone else posted a head sculpt. And this is an interesting one.
I found this on Reddit. I don't know where it showed up on Reddit. So when I typed in Hot Toys Tony Stank, this popped up. So
okay, well, yeah, that's a perfect one that you can show. The Tony Stank's one that, I mean, I definitely that one probably did need to get improved. I know that was more of like
that one was off.
Yeah, that one was definitely
that one's wild because it's just so different from what they showed with the prototype.
Right.
It's like a completely different figure.
Yeah. But that's what I'm saying. Like sometimes with the Hong Kong photos, I don't really judge it as much anymore. Cause I saw that Doctor Strange one that just released and I was like, it looks weird. Like his eyes look really small. Like there was something off or something. I didn't like it. But then when Sideshow posted the first look, literally like an hour after, I was like, oh, okay, this looks fine. Just fine. It looks just like the Infinity War one. So for me, I'm trying to kind of set myself to wait for the actual official reviews to come out. And I think, Will, you talked about this too. Like a lot of people who do get them in hand, a lot of them just take the photos like from like all the way up at their forehead. And it just like looks very off to how it actually looks in person. So, and this is a perfect, just a lot of misses here showing on the docket here for me
Riley,
to talk
we can't
about.
fix this one. We can't explain this one away.
There's nothing to do. Like those teeth, man. What were they doing? And, but I'd say we do overreact. I'd say that it is normal just because like what Marco was saying, it kind of happens normally through social media, but I'd say that we should try and like wait till the actual official reviews come out. But I know it's hard because that's the only thing we're seeing from the final product so far. But yeah, it's interesting to talk about.
Yeah. And sometimes you got to make a snap decision, you know, like I've always been of the belief that I don't feel like you necessarily need to see a figure in hand to make an accurate judgment on it. You can see photos, you can see video, as long as I guess you have a couple different avenues of resource. That's what I feel like is pretty important, right? But we can overreact to some. If they're especially egregious, maybe you think that Loki is egregious, maybe, right? I don't necessarily, but I think it's definitely not a perfect one. But this Ant-Man is pretty egregious. We can all agree with that.
Even like the Doc Ock, you can say that was the prototype photos.
Well, we could look at that and the Peacemaker body. Remember that? That wasn't a blogger photo. I guess kind of. It was a promo photo. But I would say with this Ant-Man and Tony Stank, you can look at those and be like, all right, that's not okay. That's not okay. That's not okay. You can't do that to me because this Ant-Man, they really fucked this one up. I mean, you can always put the helmet on him, but it's you know, so. But yeah, I think it's, to answer the question, I'm with you guys. I think we do it. Is it healthy? Probably not. Is it going to continue? Probably. Just because of just how we are, right?
And I just have to say, like, just everyone relax, right? The blogger photos are one data point, to Riley's point, right? Wait for the in-hand reviews. Wait till you see other collectors kind of post pictures. Do your own homework if you're going to spend the money on it, and don't try to overreact to just one set of photos.
Yeah, I agree. Guys, we got to address Mr. Carlos's super chat because I forgot to do it before the last topic. A place for collecting. Carlos, thanks so much, bro. He's just dropping $5 super chats today. 30 does a good job tailoring. That they do. So nothing too impressed there with Hot Toys. This is a 7 with Queen Studios bust being almost a perfect 10. The Queen Studios bust is pretty good. I would go maybe like a 9.5 or 9 or something. Because I've seen some other video of it, Carlos, where I'm just like, it looks pretty good, but it's not perfect. I like the statue head sculpt a lot. I don't think that's a 10 either. It's like a 9, but I get what you're saying.
Hot Toys.
Yeah, but I get what he's saying about Hot Toys. Like the tailoring is good. A lot of companies tailor well. Asmus, for the most part, tailors pretty well. 30 does it super well. Head sculpts seem to be the hard part for most companies. So I get where he's coming from with Hot Toys and holding them accountable, but we're going to address that further. So we are. So guys, but before we do that, we need to talk about Imbiamba Jones. Indiana, Imbiamba, you know how the drill goes. So Indiana Jones, and I kind of want to address this. And when I thought of this question, I was like, you know what? We could actually get a younger figure too, because if you guys noticed, they de-aged him. So they went back and used that Marvel technology. It's been around before Marvel, but they used the Marvel technology and de-aged him to give everyone and Hot Toys a chance to make a new Indiana Jones. So that is something that we could see. And supposedly, I've heard rumors swirling that that he was actually in negotiations with companies about his likeness again. So we'll see. I thought this trailer was pretty good, but I kind of want to approach this one more of a figure standpoint. Would you guys want an old man Indiana Jones or maybe a 2.0? I don't know how many have been made. 3.0 of this younger de-aged Indiana Jones. What do you think, Marco? Would this be something you think yourself or other collectors would be interested in?
Yeah, so to take the second question first, do I want an older Indiana Jones? I guess we'll just wait and see how the movie turns out. If it's anything like the last one, we're going to want to stay as far away from it. But I know they brought back Spielberg's actually doing this one, right? Or they've got like the original talent that's...
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'd have to check, but...
Okay, but I think there's higher hopes for this one, for sure, than how the last one turned out. But I think I want a young Indiana Jones. I think I want a 2.0 or whatever iteration they need to get to on that original figure, because so many great memories for Raiders and a Temple of Doom and obviously the Disneyland ride. Like, I would love to add something like that to the collection. I looked at is it the Present Toys version that everyone was kind of raving about? And I wanted it, but I tried to limit my third-party figures as much as possible, holding out for Hot Toys to do a proper one. So, but yeah, it would be really terrific if Harrison Ford was actually, allowing his likeness to be used, because I need more Harrison Ford figures in the collection. He's just played so many iconic characters. I'd love to add more to the collection. So yeah, young Indiana Jones for me.
Yeah, and they could maybe take the Han Solo head sculpt, rework it a little bit, put a hat on it, and call it a day. I mean,
there you go.
They can make it work. So, Riley, what about you, man? I know you're probably too young for Indiana Jones, but
yeah, I was gonna say, actually, I haven't even seen the trailer. If I'm being honest, I'm not.
Nice. You're too young for the trailer, even.
Yeah, I'm not. No, I gotta check it out. But honestly, I'm not the biggest Indiana Jones fan. I think I've seen like the older ones like once, but I'm not like a big into old Indiana Jones. But I like the ride on Disneyland. That's what I'll say. That was a fun ride. But
was it? I don't think I've been on that one.
Yeah, they have it at Disneyland. It's a pretty cool ride. So you should check it out. But,
that's hilarious. Ride. I was like, I haven't seen the trailer, but I like the Disney ride.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'll say.
Hilarious.
But, I'm probably gonna get flamed in the chat. But but the old Indian figure form, yeah, I think that would be pretty cool to see. I mean, I'm with kind of everyone else. I think the younger, like de-age version, I think that's gonna be cool. I know Harrison Ford like mentioned that the de-aging process is like pretty crazy how it looks in the movie, so that's exciting to see. So I'd probably much rather want the younger form. The older form would also be cool too. I mean, like you said, they can probably just go with the Force Awakens version of Han and just tweak it up and then just slap the hat on. But this would be a cool figure to do, because I know there's a lot of like Hot Toys from movies that are like that we really want to see, like different types of movies other than the Marvel, DC, or Star Wars. Like, we get that a lot. And I know Hot Toys mentioned at the beginning of this year that they're going to try and do like other types of movies and get other things out, but it's been kind of slow in that department recently. I mean, we've seen some other like one-offs, but it'd be really cool to get this one specifically. It is Disney, so I'd imagine they try and get it. So that's exciting to see. But yeah, I'd probably just skip on an Indiana Jones figure. A lot of people would be hyped for it, but for me, it's just, it wouldn't be one that goes to my collection.
I would be with you, Riley, because I'm gonna help you out here, because I'm a lot older than you, right? I'm 31 at this point. I can't even remember my age, but I'm 31, right? So I've only seen like half of the first Indiana Jones film. So like I watched it and I was just kind of like, it's all right. Like I wasn't really feeling it that much, right? So I'm probably gonna get flamed in the chat for that. I'll probably give it another shot, but this Riley would not be a figure for me either, unless I go see the film and I'm just like, oh my God, this is so good. Then maybe I would consider it. But as far as like Indiana Jones fan that I am going into this film, not that much. So it's kind of like Back to the Future for me. I really liked Back to the Future more, but I wouldn't buy Back to the Future figures, like it's not, I don't like, they're not tier 1 essentially.
Yeah, not tier 1, not tier 1.
Not tier 2. They're more like tier 5. So, but yeah. So
Will, you've got to give Raiders another shot though. You've got to watch till the end. Yeah, the first one.
Yeah, I'll give it another shot, man. I don't know what it was, Marco. I was just not feeling it exactly.
Just I gotta watch movies are paced a bit slower sometimes. I get that. I give up on them sometimes.
I think I don't remember when exactly I was watching it. I was dating a girl at the time. Maybe I was just like unhappy. Like I was just in a bad state. Yeah, I was just like, it was a while back. It was years, probably a year or so back or more. I was probably just like, you know what? I need to be single again.
Yeah.
So anyway, there you go. But that's probably why I didn't like Indiana Jones. But anyway,
Makes
guys,
a lot of sense to me.
Yeah, it does, bro. The logic is airtight. So thanks so much for your thoughts on that one. We're gonna end Indiana Jones on that one. We got to move on to another Hot Toys announcement, because yes, we are getting 1,000,005 Hot Toys releases right now, which we're not complaining, because that's really great, and I'm excited about that. And I think a lot of people are excited about this one, the Hot Toys White Vision. I don't even know if that's the official name for it, but that's what we've been calling it. So I guess you could call it Cyborg Vision. You could call it Other Vision from WandaVision. Whatever name you find applicable, you can go with that, right? But Hot Toys White Vision, it has officially released. The blogger photos have been shown. And I think it's pretty unique looking. I think there's a lot of detail in it. I think it's actually pretty cool. And I think this would actually be one that would, I think, kind of pop on a shelf a little bit. I think it's a very unique, cool looking kind of cybernetic type figure. But Marco, what do you think, man? Is this the vision to own for you, or is this maybe sort of like an accessory type piece?
Yeah, so I think I've fully ruled out owning any of their other visions. I think that they're cool looking figures, but something about them just didn't speak to me. So I think I've passed on all those. I have to say, I'm adding the WandaVision Wanda 100%. Where is she? I need her yesterday. But so I've been kind of contemplating, like, do I need a vision to go next to her? When they announced this white version, I was like, oh, this is actually, to your point, like it would stand out on the shelf. I think it would look very unique. That being said, I just don't think that it's one that I need to add. You and Carlos have been talking about your tiered base system, right? And, I definitely run that same calculus in my head when I'm thinking about adding a figure. And I think this just falls outside of the category of need for me, even though I am getting his companion piece or, a semi-companion piece for Wanda. But I think just Wanda by herself will be enough to represent that really great series. And hopefully she's out in the next few months. But I think this one will be a pass. But I think everything from the detail to the coloring looks nice. I'm a bit concerned about the all white and maybe it, fading over time or yellowing over time. But I know that they've kind of yellowed up some sections already. So, we shall see. But yeah, it's nice, but not for me.
Yeah, it's a pretty cool looking figure. But Marco, I think you're onto something about this not necessarily being like an absolute need for everyone. And I think that's fine. There can definitely be plenty of figures like that. It doesn't have to be a DX Vader where everyone's going to buy it. That's totally reasonable and fair. I'm just thinking about the idea of the vision to own, because in order to commit to this vision, you'd have to have one to have multiple visions, probably. You'd have to want to have at least two, right? So you'd have to want to have probably the new one or the Age of Ultron one, because they're not too different besides the body and some updates. The new one's better, no doubt about it. But you kind of got to have maybe an idea in mind where you want to do something like this. Or you really love WandaVision and you have a display in mind where you want to recreate something. But for me, Riley, when I jumped to you on this one, like Marco had mentioned, right? I got this scrolling on the bottom here just because I want to get people into maybe the idea of thinking about this. When we're thinking about the tier that White Vision would be, like Marco was referencing, I'd be willing to bet for a lot of people, he's probably going to be like maybe tier 5, right? Tier 5 meaning sort of the okay tier. It's okay. I like it. It's a nice figure, but do I really care about Vision that much? Riley, where do you kind of rank this White Vision on your tier list? And where would you, just your overall thoughts on it? Where are you sitting at it?
Dude, honestly, I'd probably say, honestly, I might even go to a tier 6 personally, but I'd be close. I'd be maybe close to 5 just because of how good the figure turned out personally. Because I think the character wise, I'll be honest, it wasn't anything like honestly, I don't even I've kind of forgot that this guy was in the show for a second. I didn't.
So
have
you're definitely tier 6.
I don't have probably. I didn't have any connection to the. I mean, he looks cool. Like it's a cool, and I think that. I mean, Carlos, he always talks about this, like Hot Toys, their latest releases have been very mediocre and not good. I think this was one that's like a big win. Like I think it looks really good. Like I think that when it comes to the prototype to the final, like I think they did really good. There's like some close-ups of the sculpt and it looks like really nice, the detailing and everything. You definitely don't want to have a bag of Cheetos unboxing this
no
Cheetos
keep those
clean, cut the nails, get everything set. But yeah, for me it would probably be one that I wouldn't really pick up. Like maybe I'd pick it up if it was like $100, but I just think it looks cool. I'm happy for people who are getting it though. I know that this is like an important character, I believe, in the comics. Like a lot of people like this rendition of the outfit.
He's like the West Coast Avengers, right?
Right, exactly. Something like So that I know he has a little unicorn beam thing. I don't think I'd display that. I don't think I'd do that. But like I said, it looks really good. Like the figure itself, just me, like the actual character of the show. Like I really have no stride to even pick up the figure. But like I said again, it's for people getting it, like this is a win. I think it's like a 9 or a 9.5 figure. It just looks really good. It turned out really well. And for people collecting the WandaVision line, I think this is a really nice piece to add.
Yeah, I'm with you guys. I think this is a really cool looking figure. It just matters how much you care about this specific version of the character. Because he doesn't really, you're buying this one for aesthetics because he doesn't really do that much in the show.
Maybe in the future. Who knows?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Maybe you're buying for the future too, right? That's a good point. You're buying for characterization that could possibly come to be. Or maybe, like you said, you're buying based on the comic rendition or comic interpretation. But at the end of the day, you're really probably buying this figure right now because it looks cool. So And there's not necessarily anything wrong with that. That's a, one way to do it for sure. And it does look super cool. I know like Lael, for example, he has a comic connection to this. So he's absolutely going to get it and he's going to love it. And it's a really cool looking figure, but it's just for me, not quite the vision to own, just because I think most people would probably go for the standard. Don't you guys think?
Yeah, probably.
Standard purple man vision.
And I will say we're likely going to see Vision again. So if you're on the fence, you could always wait. Now, that wait could be 6 years from now, but it's an option for sure.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. All right, guys. So we'll wrap it on Vision. Let's ask another question here. Do we criticize Hot Toys in the same manner we do other companies? Because this is something that actually came to be because how much of a hypocrite Carlos is. Because Riley knows about this. Because, not really, I just like messing with him. But we were talking about how much we criticize Hot Toys. Is it fair? Is it just? Do we criticize other companies to the same degree? And so forth, right? So I wanted to ask this question. Do we actually criticize Hot Toys more harshly? Do we give them more leniency because they have such a long, lengthy track record? Do we criticize InArt in the same way we criticize Hot Toys, at least with the prototypes, right? Do we criticize statues the same, like J&D, the same way we criticize Hot Toys? 3-0 even. Do we criticize Asmus more harshly? Star Ace, right? Do we give them all the same treatment, or do we give Hot Toys a harsher treatment, or like I said, more leniency because they've released so many bangers? Marco, I want to start with you. How do you approach this? Do you think we're fair as collectors overall? Do we criticize Hot Toys unfairly, too light? What do you think?
Yeah, I think because Hot Toys is the top dog, they get the most harsh criticism, undoubtedly, right? You look at how many figures they've released this year, how many of them have been really great, how much money I know a lot of us either on this panel or watching this have given them, and yet we're still very, very harsh when it comes to grading their figures. And I think that's because, Will, you said they've kind of set this high bar, and so anytime that they don't meet those expectations, we're going to throw a whole bunch of criticism their way because we know how great they can do. But, at the end of the day, they're a pretty well-oiled machine regardless of the delays or of certain misses with figures. I think when it comes to the 1/6 game, they're just undoubtedly putting out the quality and quantity that is unmatched. So I think that's the reason why they're getting so much harsher criticism versus like InArt. I think the community's starting to turn on a bit. We'll see what happens, end of this year, early next year, but they have done nothing so far, and yet they were the darling for so long. But, now that, things are going to release soon, now we're really going to start to see if we apply the same criticisms to them that we have to Hot Toys. So, but yeah, and Hot Toys has already had such a proven track record in the past or this year alone. So, it's a bit unfair, but that's what happens when you're on top.
Yeah, it's true. That's what she said. So
I was waiting for that.
That's amazing.
Marco, Riley and I's brains are in sync, bro.
Yeah.
Right
As soon as I heard
Marco
on top,
he set me up for that one. That was like an alley-oop.
That's right.
So, but anyway, so by the way, so what I would say, that I've said this quite a bit, actually, now I'm throwing myself off the train of thought. So what I would say is that, like, Marco, we hold them to a high standard because we know what they're capable of. So I understand also we are paying, I guess, premium prices for these, right? This is not nothing. And I know we've all talked about this. Carlos talked about this. We've all talked about it. This Loki is probably $300 out the door. You add another $100, you're almost at a PS5. So it's not cheap. It's not nothing. And they should be held to a high standard for that and accountable. So it is something for sure that I think we want to hold them to a high standard because, one, they're capable of it. And one, I feel like we're paying for it. Yeah, we're not paying custom prices. We're not paying $2,000 for Loki. But, at the end of the day, it's pretty reasonable. But we're still shelling out a lot of money for these things. It's not nothing money by any stretch. So I think that's why maybe we do criticize them a little more harshly. I've always said, no matter the scale, the higher the price, the harsher the criticism. That's just how it goes. That goes with anything in life, not just collectibles. If it's a J&D and it's $3,000 or $2,500, I'm going to criticize it more harshly. I'm going to judge it more harshly because I'm paying a hell of a lot more for it. Even if it's the best in its own scale or market, I'm still going to judge it harshly because it needs to be. I need to judge it very critically at that price. So that's kind of how I'm viewing it. But Riley,
and
I want to let you jump in.
Sorry, Will. Just
go ahead,
really quickly. I think that's kind of like the nature of our society right now, though, too, in terms of being very critical. We've given people so many avenues in terms of like Yelp, you can criticize any business or restaurant. Twitter, you can go on and flame just about anybody from a sports team to an actor to a movie. IMDb, there's the fan results. So like everyone is able to have an opinion and kind of channel it. So I think the criticism is just par for the course with our 21st century society.
Yep. And I think that's the hard part, Marco, figuring out the line of like constructive criticism and obnoxious criticism, right? I feel like
Very
that's
true.
kind of the line where it's like, excessive criticism, I guess I could say. So I think we're, as a community, pretty fair overall, though. I do think we're pretty fair. I like to think so. But Riley, what do you think, man? Do we criticize Hot Toys, similarly to other companies?
I'd say that I kind of in agreement with the whole panel here. I'd say that a lot of the reason why we criticize them so much is the price tag, and I think that in cases it's definitely justified. I mean, we look at the way Hot Toys is kind of like forming right now, and the algorithm that a lot of figures are just getting even more expensive just as the months go. Like they're not going to drop down and give us lower, cheaper prices unless it's just something that they can just make super quick and easy. But every figure we've seen really is just getting that $10 bump, $10 bump, $20 bump, like a lot higher and higher. So I think that as that happens, a lot of our criticisms start to increase a lot higher because we're just expecting a really, really like premium product because a lot of the prices are high. And a lot of people say with InArt, there's a lot of us who are just like giving them like the pass, like, oh, it's fine, it still looks great, but we're being critical of them too. Like there's no doubt about it. The prototypes, like we've explained, the prototypes look very good, but at the end of the day, they're still a prototype. It's not the final product. The Joker, I mean, that looked amazing. It looked incredible. A lot of people say that's a home run. But if we look at the figure that they recently released, which was, I believe, the Aragorn, that was super controversial. Like a lot of people are like, oh, this is very bad for this price. Like you can't really be doing this in art. So I think that we do criticize like certain companies as they have those premium prices. And in our, obviously, they're like right now the highest when it comes to the 6 scale. So we're putting them up on a high pedestal. I mean, they're a new company. We're trying to see them strive to do really great things, but we also are being very healthy with our criticism. And I think that's important, like you said, like to not be in a certain way where you're being like obnoxious or toxic. Like we obviously want to be respectful in a manner when we're just saying, oh, if you can improve this would be really great, rather than just like bashing the artist who's doing it, because that's just not cool. So that's what I'd say. And I think that it is justified to have your, like I said, constructive criticisms rather than in that toxic manner. And I just think it is, because at the end of the day, it's working, because whenever we're adding these criticisms, when it comes to streams, when it comes to Facebook groups, like we have in the place for collecting, like a lot of people are just being honest about things, but very respectively, not no negative comments. And Hot Toys are listening. I mean, we looked at, like you said, Will, it's the perfect one is Peacemaker. I mean, that yep. I still don't think that would be updated if it wasn't for the community talking about the figure. It got hugely, massively improved. It's like, okay, this looks like realistic. It looks way better. They fixed the seams, like they made them buffer. That was a total win, and I think that was mainly from the community. We can also talk about even the Gandalf. That was one that the staff thing with collecting weekly, they kind of brought up that level where they're like, okay, if you can do this would be amazing, because I just think that it's not acceptable to not have this, in my opinion. And then look what happened. They got the staff, and it all worked out. So I think that having that healthy level of criticism is totally fine to do it with companies with premium prices.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I'm with you guys 100% on this one. So guys, I want to move on from this one because I want to move to actually a couple more figure releases that we have to talk about real quick. So, Hot Toys Axe Woves, important or only necessary for completionists? I want to ask you guys this very pivotal question, because Axe Woves is a character that I don't know that a lot of people expected to actually exist in figure form. I sure didn't. Sure, Black Series, something like that, but I didn't think that Hot Toys was actually going to make this guy, because I was like, do enough people care about Axe Wolves to drop 235, 270? I thought it would be 275 because it'd have a head sculpt. It ended up not having a head sculpt. I still maintain the conspiracy theory, because Hot Toys knew that if you put an Axe Wolves head sculpt on this guy, you're going to have to charge maybe 275, 280. And at that point, that $45 to $50 difference is going to be the breaking point for a lot of people, where you're going to be like, I don't really need an Axe Wolves. But at 235, I'll take another Deathwatch Mando. That's pretty much what you did here. So I think that's kind of why they chose to go that route. So, Marco, I want to jump to you. I want to ask you, is it important or only necessary for a completionist? Because you can see people who want to complete sort of the Mando line. They have Bo-Katan and Casca and Axe, and that would be a pretty cool display. But I'd be willing to bet for most people, he's probably not in a higher level tier. So what do you think?
Yeah, this one is absolutely only for completionists. Will, I think your point about the head sculpt, right on, because that's kind of the fine line between how the community perceives a bargain versus like a bargain bin figure that will sit. If it was $40 more, absolutely would be sitting. The only reason this guy exists is because he's a repainted Deathwatch Mando with some some alterations on the boots or whatnot. So Yeah, I think it's just one of those releases that it was low-hanging fruit for Hot Toys. Obviously, they're creating the two other characters who I'm very interested in getting, honestly, because of the head sculpts. Because one of the head sculpts looks really great, and then Bo-Katan looks questionable, but the rest of the figure looks pretty nice. So yeah, I think again, if you want to use a tiered system, prioritize this for yourself. But at the end of the day, you'll probably, if you get this and you're not like a hardcore Star Wars fan or a hardcore Mandalorian fan, you probably will. This will be an XS1 in your collection. And I will mention, we may talk about this, that the Mandalorian's coming back next season, right? Or in a few months, it'll be
March.
back on.
March.
Yeah, there you go. So in March, and so there's gonna be a whole cast of characters and more figures, and so obviously this is something you got to be aware of to be patient. And I wouldn't be shocked if this guy goes bargain bin as well, and he goes 150. So definitely only for completionists.
Yeah, I'm with you. And the figure looks cool, Marco. I think we both agree on that. It's just a cool looking figure, but is it essential for most people in a market that is very full of good options right now? So
Absolutely.
that's, I think, so that's why I think the completionist thing comes in play, where you feel like you need the three together or you need the Mando display together. So absolutely, man. So Riley, what about you, bro? How do you feel about this Axe Wolves? Is it important or only necessary for completionists? What's your overall thoughts?
I think I'm feeling more, like it is necessary for the more completionists, because I think that, personally, this is just going to look really awesome with your whole Mando collection, like you guys have said. I think that mainly Hot Toys did this probably because it was just so easy to produce. I mean, it was basically the Death Watch Mandos just repainted. So I think that they're just like, okay, let's just get those, duplicate them, and change the paint, and there you go. And that's why it probably got released so early, because I mean, I feel like this turnaround was really crazy. Like, it really came around really fast. So that was good to see. But like you guys talked about, I think, this one to me is like you guys said, probably a tier 5 figure. Like, it's okay. I probably wouldn't get it unless it's like heavily discounted, or I'm, like you said, completing the Mando display, because a lot of people are doing that. I mean, there's a lot of Mando collectors out there. It's a super popular line, and I don't even know what the number is anymore, because it's a really huge line. And season 3 is around the corner. You've got like 20 other variants. So I'm just personally waiting. I'm going to see how everything else looks, because we're going to see a lot of Mando announcements next year. I'll tell you that for sure. But it looks good though. But for me, I'm happy for people who are collecting this, because it did really turn out great for the turnaround time. And it looks great.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think so. And that's something I think that I guess I want people to, I like to promote anyway, to stop and sometimes think about it. Like, cause it's like, this is a really cool looking figure, but how much do you care about Axe Wolves? Because he was barely in the show at all. I mean, I think it's sometimes, like I said, it's cool to buy things for the look of the figure, but I think sometimes it's important to look at it and be like, do I really love this character? And right. I get it. Like, for example, if they made a Knight of Ren character, I'd probably buy it, right? Because I really love the sequel trilogy, and not exactly Last Jedi, but I really love the Knights of Ren and what they are to Kylo and that type of thing. So I get it. I understand where you guys are coming from, but I really like the Knights of Ren, and I just like their characterization. So anyway, or lack thereof at this point. Thanks so much, guys, for thoughts on that one. That's Axe Wolves for you, and we'll see what people think when he actually starts hitting the States at Sideshow. So we got one more figure to talk about here. Oh, a dog. I see Marco's dog.
Nice. Staring at the collection.
A pupper explorer.
Pancake, come say hi.
So, guys, we have another figure to talk about, and it's actually the Hydra Stomper and Steve Rogers. And I think this is a good way to explore not only this release, but also the idea of animated animated figures and whether they have shelf presence. I think that's something that's really interesting, because we're getting more animated figures. We got Miles, we got Gwen, we got Peggy Carter, the Captain Carter, right? We're getting more animated figures from Hot Toys. We got Buzz Lightyear. So there's more and more that are popping up, and I'm wondering, do animated figures have that shelf presence that we typically buy Hot Toys for? I think that's an interesting question, considering that we're getting more and more of them, and we're getting a lot of great animated things being offered to us now. Like I said, I have Attack on Titan Kotobukiya stuff. I really like it. There are other animated things Hot Toys could be doing. Maybe Disney stuff they'll do eventually. So this could be something that we see more of. But Marco, I want to ask you your overall thoughts on this Hydra Stomper and Steve Rogers. And do you think animated figures have that shelf presence that you and other collectors are looking for?
Yeah, so for me, the animated figures really are not the reason I got into Hot Toys. Mm-hmm. I'm really all about the really realistic, lifelike sculpts. So, I'm adding the Miles Morales, so excited for that, but I probably won't include the comic head sculpt on it. I'll probably keep the mask on. So I want to separate, this Steve Rogers versus the Hydra Stomper, right? If it was just a Steve Rogers by himself, I think it's a pretty unimpressive figure. I mean, some folks love it, and that's great because it's got nice detailing. But for me, it's just like it's just whatever. I didn't have the connection to the series as well. So that one just looks completely fine. But I did see the Hydra Stomper in person at Comic-Con, and I think that's got incredible detail. And I don't know that one is necessarily so animation specific. Like, it could almost look lifelike in the way that they painted it and detailed it. So I think that piece is really nice. But yeah, just the animated figures overall don't move the needle for me. Don't necessarily justify the price, given that they just look a little bit more toy-like versus really realistic sculpts on certain Hot Toys figures that really take it to the next level, that really make it like a mature art piece for me personally. And maybe I sound like a snob when I say that, but no, yeah, excited for excited for anyone that may be adding this. I do think the Hydra Stomper is a really cool piece, not something that I have a bunch of space for, but just the animated figures will not likely be coming to the collection unless there's something that comes out that absolutely blows me away in the future.
Yeah, absolutely makes sense. So Riley, what about you, man? Do you have any of these animated figures from the What If line or Spider-Verse or anything like that? Do you think animated figures really have that shelf presence you're looking for? And what's kind of your overall thoughts on this Hydra Stomper and Steve Rogers?
Yeah, this is an interesting one because I'm kind of on both sides of it because, I mean, obviously I'm one of the, like, I'm a huge fan of like the Clone Wars figures, and I guess that's a tough one because you can call it anime because it's from the animated show, but they more so make the sculpts like actually from like realistic, like they make it like a movie. So I think exactly. That's where it has the difference there. Yeah, Marco, like you were saying, like when it comes to the animated figures here, like they're really more so getting like the actual look of the animation where there's no real like details. Like if it's an like older person, they won't have the wrinkles, they won't have the detailing on the sculpts. Like it'll just be a flat face with the painting on it. But like I said, this one, I think it looks actually, the Hydra Stomper looks really cool. I know Carlos said it looks like a Target toy and he wouldn't buy it for like 20 bucks. But to me, I still think it looks kind of cool. Like I think it would work like in your like normal realistic displays because I mean, I don't think that you can really tell as much as it's animated. Maybe you can, maybe I'm wrong, but the Steve definitely to me, yeah, you can obviously tell that that's animated. And I think, yeah, like Marcos was saying, I'm not like a huge fan of the way it turned out. I mean, the neck looks a little long and it just looks a little bit too much like a toy to me. I'd more so like Marcos was saying, I buy the Hot Toys to see the sculpts and they're like realistic, the head sculpts. That's why you're paying that price. But nonetheless, I like I said, the Clone Wars and stuff like that, where it's like the Bad Batch figures, we have like the Echo and the Hunter. Like it's not just the animated things from the show. It's like it actually looks like they're in the Star Wars universe of like the actors and stuff. So I think that's really cool. So I wonder like, well, I guess they didn't want to do that with Marvel here, like where they can actually have like the actors likeness rather than the animated because it's more so just like strictly animated. So I don't know. It's I'm kind of on both sides of it, but I think that there is opportunity to where it can have presence because like you guys were talking about, the animated like line is kind of building up a lot with Marvel. There's a lot of stuff happening with animation. So if you get these and they just have other future projects where you can kind of get this whole lineup in a shelf, I think it will have a lot of presence personally. But to others like myself personally, I think I'd more so sticking to that realistic-esque with certain figures because like Clone Wars, etc. Like you can have clones like with your like Anakin and Obi-Wan and it would look great. It's not really the same with Marvel with these animated ones. But yeah, it looks great though.
Yeah, and that makes sense. You guys are really on to something. I feel like but animated figures, I don't know. It's a really tough one. I think you got to really love the character and love the property because it just if they have a head sculpt like that where it's animated, I guess sometimes it looks a little bit different than everything else you have, right? So it kind of throws off a little bit of the display. But again, it should be ultimately about the love of the character. But as far as shelf presence goes, I think that's something to factor in. I mean, you know, I guess it depends on how much you care about what other people think. Because when people come into your collection room, probably I would think the least likely ones they would go for would be the animated ones. However, with Hydra Stompers, no head sculpt, right? They would never know it was animated. They probably gravitate towards it because it's so big. So that would be something they would look at. I've said that in collecting, I don't know about other aspects of life, bigger is better. So, but in collecting, it's important. It's true. So, you know, people tend to go, you know, when they see my collection, they tend to go for bigger pieces. Pennywise is what they go for because it's a half scale. So I will say that it tends to be something that I find true, at least in my experience. But animated figures, man, yeah, I do like them. I think they're cool. This Hydra Stomper, I'm okay with it. I think it's kind of cool. Like I said on Lael's show on Wednesday, It's all right. It's really not for me, Riley. I'm kind of like in the middle between Carlos and everyone else. Like Carlos thinks, what he said, it looks kind of like toyish. I kind of tend to agree, but I don't think I think it does have a lot of detail to it. So I don't think it's quite like Target level, but I think it's like, it's okay, right? It's just really not for me because I really don't like What If that much. And I think this kind of looks, I don't know, I guess a little, what was the film? Iron Giant? That one?
Yeah,
it kind of looks like that, right? It kind of looks like that a little bit. So I do think animated figures can have shelf presence, but it's got to be the right one that you love. I don't think you should just dive down any one. If, like you said, like Marco, you're going for Hot Toys for realism reasons. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
exactly.
So that's what I would say. So anyway, guys,
nice.
I want to ask you something. Because we're about, today's December the 2nd. We're about 23 days from Christmas or whatever holiday
season.
I know the holiday season is here. So what figure do you hope Santa Howard leaves under your tree? Because I think we could all answer this in different ways. We all have figures we're excited about. The way I kind of want to think about it is something that is close to release. Something that's not coming out in the next 3 years, right? Something that's coming out maybe in the next couple months, or maybe Q2 of 2023. And I just thought of one as I was coming up with this topic, and I didn't realize this was actually so close to release. Shang-Chi. Shang-Chi is set to release January to March of 2023. I thought he originally was going to be Q2 to Q3 of 23. I don't know if that's moved up since, but I just checked this now, and Q1 of 2023. So maybe this is more imminent than we realize. But Marco, I want to ask you, what figure do you hope that Santa Howard Chan leaves under your tree this year?
Yeah, so I've got a pretty long wish list when it comes to Christmas. The first thing I really, and it's not a figure, but a Riley Reviews t-shirt would be really great to have under the tree. So
I got you, bro.
Yeah, Riley never hooks anyone up with shirts.
No,
I got you one. You don't even wear it, Will.
I do wear it.
I know.
Beautiful shirts. Another one is the Churro Spider-Man. Now, I think he might be on the way, so he might be under the tree actually, but we're talking about ones that are on the cusp of being released. Right. The Falcon, Captain America, Falcon, Sam Wilson. That's the one that I desperately want. Now, that and WandaVision, I was so excited to add this year. But, they obviously don't seem like they're going to make the cut. But I think this is going to be an absolute banger when it comes to the wings, when it comes to the detailing on the suit, the sculpt. This is one that I absolutely cannot wait to add. And it's going to be so unique on the shelf. Where I'm going to put it, I don't know. I'm going to have my Maji cases at that point. But yeah, it's definitely one that I absolutely cannot wait to be released. And we got a month, so maybe it'll sneak in right before the start of the new year.
Yeah, could be. And this is a really, really good head sculpt. Really good head sculpt. I hope they don't mess this one up because the detail on the wings, the outfit, the head sculpt looks incredible. I really love the look of this figure a lot. So that's a good choice, Marco.
Thank
Riley, what about you, bro? What are you hoping that Santa Howard brings you?
Dude, there's like too many to count, man. There's so many releases coming in 2023, like beginning. It's going to be a pretty crazy year, 2023. But if we can get anything before that, if I could, I'd probably say one of the ones that I definitely can't wait for is the Carnage, because that's going to be a big one.
Dude,
I'm really excited.
I think I'm getting the Carnage also.
Yeah, I actually have that one paid off, so I really hope it gets released
January to March, Riley.
Yeah. Who knows? We'll see. I mean, Venom got pushed early, like 6 months. I remember when that came out. So who knows what'll happen with Carnage? I think it just looks like an amazing figure. I actually can't wait for it. Just the presence it's gonna have. I think that it's gonna be one of the best like presence figures like of the year for sure, definitely. But I just think that and the Spider-Man display. I hope Howard, if you're listening, try and get this one out because I think it's gonna look great. And you're also getting that the Eddie Brock bust. Like that's gonna be really awesome. The half sculpt. I think that's gonna come out really well from the prototype of how we've seen it, and just pairing this with Venom. I mean, it's going to be really badass. So I can't wait for that one. And what's another one I could think of? I'd probably say one that would be really cool would be I think it should be around the corner is the Mando Luke. Cause I know that one's going to be a big one for me.
Can't wait, Riley.
Yeah, I can't wait for this one. Cause I actually don't have a Luke Skywalker in the collection. I've never had one. So that's one that I mean, as soon as I saw that episode, I was like, Hot Toys, when you do this, I'm definitely buying it. So that's one I can't wait for. Hopefully, I think that one should be like in the next few months. But
December, it says.
Yep, we'll see. Maybe it'll get delayed. Who knows?
It probably will.
Hopefully not. Yeah, probably not. But I think that having that crushed like Dark Trooper, that whole scene is just like so iconic to me. So I need to have that. It's gonna be really badass to have on the shelf. So those two would be big ones. Howard, if you're listening, get it under my tree. Come on, Howard.
Come on, Howard, get that Luke Skywalker there. Because Riley, I'm with you. I think this Luke Skywalker is probably a tier 3 for me. Tier 3, tier 4. So I do want it. I had it on pre-order at one point, but I canceled it because I knew I could probably get it cheaper later. So that's why I did that. But it all depends on the head sculpt. But this is the most interesting one because you can just put the hood on him. And I think that's what probably most people are going to do. So it's like the least important Luke Skywalker head sculpt that's ever been done. So, but it still looks like a really cool because this is a moment right here. This is a pure amazing moment that you're going to get.
I'd say like tier 2 for me personally. I really want to get this one. It's gonna be awesome.
Yeah, and the head sculpt here isn't bad. I mean, it's accurate to the show. To be fair,
right?
Like this is kind of what he looked like in the show,
and it looked better like in future. Like I think it was the Book of Boba Fett where they updated it. So I wonder if like maybe they can update it. I don't know, but we'll see. I don't know.
Right. Yeah, absolutely, man. So, and I'm hoping for that Cad Bane, but that's not coming anytime soon. That's coming like probably middle of next year. Next year. So, we'll see, man. So we shall see. So, guys, very excited about the holidays this year. So, I got a few more topics here. I'm trying to think of which one we want to do the most. Let's do this because we talked about InArt a little bit in passing. We talked about, do we hold them to the same standard we hold Hot Toys to? Are we unfair to either or? So I kind of want to ask the question, and this is something that I feel like has been brought up quite a bit I've seen in the community. Can we compare them? Because they are somewhat in different price tiers. I guess it depends on which figure you're looking at. Gandalf is obviously a little more expensive than most Hot Toys. Gandalf is about, $500, $550, but he has a rooted beard and rooted hair. So a little bit different than a lot of Hot Toys. But when you're looking at, say, the Pattinson Batman versus the Hot Toys Batman, not that much of a price difference for the sculpted one. For the rooted one, you're paying like maybe $150 more or something like that. So $150 to $200 more. So I wanted to ask you guys, can we compare them? They're both 1/6. One's, quote, they're advertising premium materials, right? Die cast, real leather, wood, whatever, right? Can we compare them? I feel like we can. But what do you think, Marco? Because Hot Toys has been the king of realism, and InArt's obviously going for that throne a little bit. They're going for Hot Toys' head a little bit. What do you think, Marco? Can we compare the two?
Oh, absolutely we can compare the two, and we should. Now, InArt wants us to believe that they're going to be significantly superior to Hot Toys, and I hope that's the case with the Joker. It looks terrific from the prototype we've seen. But they're going after similar characters, or the same character that Hot Toys has already done across, their entire first phase. So we've obviously got the Pennywise, we've got the Pattinson Batman, we've got the Joker, they're doing a Christian Bale Batman, they're doing a Ben Affleck Batman, a Superman. So it's like, okay, figures we've already seen from another 1/6 company. So they're obviously coming at Hot Toys. And even with their price point, right? Like you mentioned, they're a little bit more expensive, but they are comparable to what Hot Toys is charging. So I think at the end of the day, they want us to compare to Hot Toys, and they want us to determine that they're actually the next step in the 1/6 game, which is totally, meant to, the jury is still out at this point. So we shall see if they're really going to be the next evolution when it comes to these figures that we love. But they are going directly competing with the same properties. So of course, naturally, we're going to compare the two.
Yeah, absolutely. And I can definitely see, some people in the chat are excited about kind of this topic and kind of what it's going to mean. But yeah, I know InArt has been pushing really hard to release this Joker. That's what John has told me. They're trying really hard to get this Joker out before the end of the year. So we're going to see if that happens. It's a lot of them. It's a lot of product that they got to move, a lot of volume. So we'll see. But yes, when they release something, we're going to, I guess, find that in hand. But for now, Riley, what do you think, man? Is it fair, to compare these two? Because I know Marco used the word comparable, right? That's exactly what I mean. I think they probably are. But what do you think, Riley?
I'd definitely say that I think that we can compare between the two. I get that what other people are saying. I've seen like in the chat, like we haven't really seen like a figure in hand yet, so it's not really that like fair to really compare the two. But personally, I think like even just like we're talking about with value and what they've shown, and apparently what the final product is, because that's what they've said. The Joker is the final product, and they had that at the Vegas event, and I saw it. So I'd say that I can compare probably the Joker. The future ones, they are prototypes, but from what we've seen, I think that they're definitely serviceable to compare either of them, because we talk about InArt being really premiumly priced, but honestly, there's really, you can compare them with Hot Toys with pricing wise, because if you don't have the rooted hair, which InArt have shown, when it's not rooted, the prices aren't that like over the top crazy. I in my opinion, because I know the Batman one specifically. I think it was $300 retailed for the sculpted, just the single pack. But the Hot Toys one I think it's right around there. It's like $280 or $290. So I'd say when it comes to like when you're talking about the rooted, yeah, you're gonna have like the extra price hike of like the $200 because I mean obviously rooted is gonna add a lot more price to it. But when we talk about sculpted, Hot Toys is sculpted and are sculpted, and the prices are right near each other in my opinion. So I'd say it's fair to compare it in that aspect. It's gonna be interesting to see like how they both like sorry, I'm trying to figure out the word. How they can like kind of compare like with the Batman, for instance, with the Hot Toys and InArt. That one's like really like those are really close. Like because even the sculpted hair for the InArt one, a lot of people are like, yeah, it's like it's good, but it's like not like a 9.5 good. Like it can definitely be better than what it is. And you could say the same thing about Hot Toys, even with their updated sculpted hair. It's still not there. I think it's like an 8 maybe or 8.5. So I'd say that yes, we can compare the two. I know InArt is new, and we're waiting to see like once we actually have it in our hands, like a product from them. But like you said, they are working on getting the Jokers out, and I'd imagine they'd have it in December. Hopefully, we see a batch of that and just see how it comes to quality control issues, etc. So I'd say, in my opinion, it is comparable. The another thing you have to talk about is like the bases itself. They're really they're really crazy, the bases. When you talk about Hot Toys, they've been doing that too, though, because they've been giving us a lot of diorama bases with Hot Toys. So,
but not even real wood and real metal, though, right?
Right. So when it comes to the materials, that's another thing, because yeah, they're going to offer the premium materials. It's just going to be really interesting to see. And when we actually get the InArt products, and then we have the Hot Toys products, like let's say the Batman of InArt and Hot Toys, just having them both side to side in your collection, it's going to be really like interesting to see how you can compare the two.
Yeah. And I think we can, because I think the way we're looking at it is most of us here are 1/6 collectors primarily. So when we're looking at that and we're looking at the best options that the market offers us, we're looking at comprehensive look of those options, whether InArt is expensive or not. Yes, we don't really talk about custom figures that much because that's in a very different price range than InArt is. Custom figures tend to be thousands of dollars. InArt can be for 2 figures, right? But you're getting 2 figures, 2 diorama bases for about $1,000 with that Joker with rooted hair. So yeah, you are a little bit paying for it. But yeah, I think absolutely, man. I think you can compare them. Yes, we are waiting to be practical about and realistic about what InArt is actually going to release. But for now, it's okay to compare prototypes, I think, especially when they're head-to-head, like Pennywise, Batman, figures like eventually Black Adam. We're going to have pretty much head-to-head comparisons there. And I think it's... While InArt may not say that, I think they do welcome that, because I think that gives them publicity. They're looking at it like, hey, people are going to compare us to Hot Toys and talk about us. So it gives them free advertising. And right now, yes, they are a little quiet, because I think right now they're waiting to release that Joker, and they're trying really hard to deliver something that everyone is happy with. So I think we're going to see. Guys, great thoughts on the InArt versus Hot Toys. I think we're going to wrap it there, because I have 2 more, but we've covered so many topics already. And like I said, I don't want to wear people out and have them so tired for the weekend they can't do anything. So guys, thank you both for joining Mr. Marco16Fix and Riley Reviews. Marco, dude, thanks so much, man. And like I said, it's a real blast to have you on as always, man. Love the energy. Just, you're a great dude. Love the dog in the background. Always.
Pancake.
Dog's awesome, Pancake. And what's coming up on the 16Fix channel, man?
Yeah, by the way, Will, thank you for having me. Always awesome to chat with you and Riley. Big bonus that Carlos wasn't on this time, so
thank God. Thank you.
Yeah, we needed a break.
Oh my gosh, right? No, love you, Carlos. But yeah, so coming up on our channel, first of all, if you wouldn't mind going over there and subscribing, we're almost at 500 subscribers. So that, like a big milestone for our little channel. So yeah, go give us a subscribe, please. The She Said No podcast that I do with my wife Gigi, we should have another episode dropping here in the next few weeks. She's just wrapping up finals, but she's got a lot of pent up frustration with all the boxes she's been seeing. So it should be a pretty spicy episode. Yeah. I went a little crazy on Black Friday, but a lot of good deals though. So
nice.
We'll chat about that. Yeah. So, so we'll have that coming up. Bargain Bin Bros. And then you can also catch me tonight on LWO. It'll be on 6 Scale Reviews channel. And then I'm on Collecting Weekly just about every Tuesday. So yeah. Awesome time chatting today, and
nice,
excited for you to get the Loki in hand so we can finally get the review from the real Loki stand.
The Loki aficionado, self-proclaimed. Yeah,
that's right.
So, but yeah, I'm excited about that too, Marco. But thanks for joining, bro. And yeah, guys, go subscribe to 16Fix on YouTube and IG. lots of good content in both places. So yeah, absolutely, bro. Riley Reviews. What's up, man? What's coming up on the channel, man? I know you got some cool stuff. You got some t-shirts,
dude.
Apparently.
Yeah, I got some t-shirts, bro. I'm waiting on the next batch. Marco, hopefully I can be a Howard Chan and get something under the tree. I'll get you that shirt.
Appreciate that, Riley. So not for me though, for Gigi, just so we're clear.
Yes.
We got
okay, got you.
Or both.
Gigi.
Why not?
Yeah, or both. Both of them, why not? But
she'll look better in it though.
Gigi first.
That's right.
She gets priority. Yeah.
There you
go. Yeah, thank you for having me, Will. Really, really great show. Amazing topics to discuss, really. And yeah, on my channel right now, I'm just been chilling. I've been posting more so shorts right now. They've been doing like really, really nice videos to post. And really, if you guys want to check that out, go on my channel. You can check that. Recent videos, I haven't posted as much. I've just been working, etc., school and work. But I'm going to be ramping up stuff very soon. I'm actually 13 subscribers off 900. So if you guys haven't already,
let's go.
Check out
That's
the channel.
amazing, Riley.
Really appreciate it. Thanks, bro. Appreciate that. So if you guys haven't already, trying to hit 1K. We're going to do some big giveaways for this month for the holidays. So there's going to be a special one if I do hit 1K. We'll try and do it by December 25th on Christmas. We'll see. But if that does happen, we're going to be doing big hot toy giveaways. So stay tuned for that, guys. And also join the Facebook group, A Place for Collecting. It's a great place to be at if you guys just want to chat about collectibles or just have some topics that are really positive topics to talk and being criticisms over just certain announcements and releases. And also you can do the Will, you're doing your giveaway, which you guys can get an extra entry if you actually join the group. So you guys make sure you guys want to check out that video because Will's got that Modu case or Modu Space giveaway coming out. So check that out. They've got great stuff. So yeah, thanks again, Will. Maybe I'll be on Sunday because I actually got a Sunday offer once. So maybe I'll stop by again Sunday night. So yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, if you want to be there, you're on, Riley. So we got it, man. We got it, bro. Absolutely. Well, guys, thanks so much to this Avengers level panel, as always, for making me look good and creating a good, engaging, fun show for you guys. Thank you all for joining in the chat, as always, and contributing your thoughts. Like I said, always appreciate it. I read them actually while people are talking. And like I'm kind of trying to gauge sort of the general perception in the comments while the panelists and myself are actually giving thoughts. So very cool. Very much appreciate you guys from that. And super generous with the super chats tonight. Thank you guys so much for that. It really does mean a lot. Seriously. It's just going to go right back into the channel. So it's going to go right back into StreamYard and anything else collecting, So yeah, really exciting about that. Guys, like Riley mentioned, Modu Space giveaway. Check out the video on that. Well, that'll happen when we hit 6K. We're closing in. We're a little over 5,900 right now. So real close. And guys, Carlos and I released a video on TBC, so tier-based collecting, this new philosophy that Carlos came up with that I've implemented that I think is really cool and really helpful. So I highly recommend checking that out. And there'll be more and more content. I got to do a collection tour because I did one last week. So I got to do one every single week. And so I got to find another one to do. I was sent one actually today, so I got to look at that. But guys, lots of good stuff to look at. And like I said, check out these guys, 16Fix and Riley Reviews. And yeah, we'll be back Sunday. Collectors Mingle, 8 p.m. Eastern. Until then, guys, have a good weekend. And I will see you back on Sunday. And these guys will see you sometime soon, I'm sure. So peace out. Later. Bye.